Wake up, Tommy boy. You know what time it is, guys. Welcome back to the Stix&Crits podcast. I'm Nate Powers, and this is my lazy friend here, Thomas King.
I'm very tired.
He did not sleep. Actually, we didn't sleep well because we stayed up till 5 in the morning watching season 2 of American Vandal, which was really good. It was really hilarious. I really like how they did all the twists. It was
a way better storyline than the first season.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion though that the first season was a lot funnier. I thought the jokes were more solid. I thought the characters were more solid. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. What are we here to talk about today, Tommy?
We're here to talk about God and the concept. No, I'm just kidding.
That's too deep, man. I'm not high enough for this.
So we're here to actually talk about the pros and cons of early access. So this is something I wanted to talk about for a while because early access is a very double-edged sword.
Yeah, and it's very prominent in the gaming community right now.
Yeah, and I don't understand. I mean, there's a few examples of really good that early access can do, but there's also some really terrible, almost comically over-the-top examples.
Exactly. But after that, we're going to get into our tabletop segment. This week, we're going to be talking about theater of the mind, how to make it great again.
You just think, okay, topic is done.
It's not that simple.
It's not?
You know that, no.
Oh, okay.
But first, let's dive into this wonderful topic of early access gaming. So, Tommy,
yes, Jim.
I hate that you always call me Jim because I do not look like a Jim at all.
Yeah, so I mean, early access. A lot of people really love it.
Yeah.
Especially game devs because they get the chance to kind of build their game while getting constant feedback.
Yeah, they get free R&D basically.
Yeah. Which in
actually
essence,
it's not free. They get paid for R&D.
Yeah, they get paid.
You know
for
what I mean?
Shit. But in essence, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
You release the game and your customer base buys that game, and then they give you feedback on what should be changed, should not be changed, what should be altered, which usually in the beginning amounts to a shit ton of glitches that drives everyone insane. Yeah, and that's what they patch for about the first 6 months, and then they kind of move into the more nitty gritty stuff.
Yeah.
I just to kind of throw out my opinion, I honestly hate the idea of early access.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like the fact that a consumer has to pay for an unfinished product, no matter. It doesn't matter that we're giving feedback that's being fixed. These people should be releasing a finished product. That's for example, you getting this here controller and there's no buttons on it.
Right.
What the hell am I gonna do with this controller?
See, I'm actually the opposite. I really like early access. But I do understand that it can be abused, and there are a lot of things that have naturally progressed to make things wrong with it.
Yeah.
But no, I love the idea of early access. I think it gives mainly it's because it gives the consumer an ability to purchase a game at a very low price tag. For instance, one of my go-tos is Minecraft. Minecraft is probably the most successful early access game that had. I mean, the numbers are staggering. What were we looking at? It was $6 billion.
Oh yeah, that was the value of Minecraft and Mojang
when Microsoft bought it, right?
Yeah. And it was 2014.
Yeah, and that was before it went on every platform.
It wasn't 6 billion. It was 2.5.
Was
2.5.
it?
Yeah.
Oh,
6 billion. That's insane. For one,
there was a 6 billion number somewhere.
It was no, it wasn't. It definitely wasn't for Minecraft. Jesus, for Minecraft to be worth $6 billion,
it might be there now.
That's insane.
But anyway, I bought that game for $10 as a beta, and now it's a $50-$60 game depending on what platform you're buying.
I don't know. It's still not full price. It's still not full retail. I bought it on PSN, I think, for 30 or 20. It's not that expensive.
Really?
Yeah, it's not that expensive.
All right, but I still got it 50% off, and you're part of the community the whole time. You know, you're going through and watching the evolution of the game. It's almost like watching a child grow up.
Sure.
You know, and so I like the price tag element. I also like the idea that you could lose out on some money on a shitty game or a game that doesn't end up becoming good or even released. But you get to usually get special benefits. Like limited perks. Edition stuff, in-game content, out-of-game content.
Yeah,
all
they
kinds
give you
of stuff.
some games give you in-game currency. They give you T-shirts, physical. Decorations and statuettes. And all that.
Conan Exiles. I did the pre-release. I got all those that in-game content, and I got a T-shirt. And actually, by their fault, I didn't really reported or anything, but the way that they have their redeeming system set up, you're able to actually manipulate. I got like 3 T-shirts by accident.
Jeez.
Yeah, I have the other one sitting in my room.
Well, now they're gonna come for you.
Yes, exactly. For what, $10 worth of fabric.
Yeah.
But no. So like I like all of the good things. I think that it's really good at fostering communities. As much as you can, because anything that's put on the internet is gonna attract a bunch of garbage people who are gonna try to grief everything and make your life miserable because they're miserable people. But like you can't avoid that. It doesn't matter what kind of game it is. But
no, that's like the PUBG community.
Yeah.
Right. That was an early access game, and they were like the toughest community to talk to.
Yeah,
they were just
absolutely.
Some of them were just raging assholes.
It's true.
Some of them were really
Minecraft
nice
was kind of like that for a while too.
Yeah, you still got people like that in there.
Yeah,
I mean, like anything, you're not going to be able to keep the assholes out completely.
It's true. But then you have I also really like the ability it gives like new and up and coming game developers to really like shine and like get their product out there, because nobody wants to pay $60 for a game from a company that is untested. Yeah. And nobody knows anything about them. A good example that I just literally picked up today was Breath Edge. It's a brand new. It's not even really an early access. It's kind of like a 4 hours of gameplay tech demo that you can buy for $12 on Steam. But it's made by Red Ruin Studios. Is basically looking like it's going to be the Subnautica of space.
That's dope.
Yeah, it's really cool. You're like in the year 2070 something, 2076 I think, and or 2776, some like crazy year in the future. Okay. And you're on this like mega ship that crashes into a bunch of asteroids, and then your ship also crashes into an asteroid. Jesus. So like you have your little pod, and you're trying to like run around and gather resources and not die in space. And there's a lot of really cool, like fun, quirky jokes in it. It's a little dark humor. But that game, the 4 hours of gameplay that you get is like super polished, no glitching at all. That's good. Like a really cool crafting system. And then they have, and what also I like about the developers is that they have listed out like speculative release dates and like how they're going to be patching things and how they're going to release it. They seem to be very connected with the community. Yeah. And all that stuff. So like, that aspect, I think, is another one of the big pluses for me for early access.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you're trying to go on early access, you have to be very transparent with your consumers. You have to be, otherwise it's just gonna fall apart.
Yeah, or it's gonna come off as a scam.
Yeah, exactly. Like the one examples I wanted to use for the bad games was Goddess by Peter Molyneux, and Peter Molyneux, like everybody in the games industry knows him. At one point, he was legendary, and then he started using his, abilities for comic relief. Like
I'm not very familiar with Mr. Molyneux.
He's basically a troll. Like,
okay.
Like at this point in his career, and like the last great thing he did was Fable. Was the Fable series?
That's who he is.
Yeah, he had started. He started Fable. He started Fable, and then he left Lionhead and released this dumb, stupid game, but everybody was like obsessed with it, where it was on your mobile device. I forget exactly what the hell it's called, but everybody had to tap these blocks. And that basically, it was just, you were just destroying blocks to get to the center and find this prize. And at the center of this block tapping like party, which was like 1 trillion blocks or something, right, was Goddess. It was just him showing off his new game, right, which was,
so it was like a game ad for a game,
basically. Yeah. And that game was in early access and got over $800,000 in funding.
Jesus.
And it's a god game. You control these people, right? You can change their surroundings and try to help them out, and kind of grow, and they worship you like a god. But when when the game came out, it was broken as hell.
Right. It seems like something that would have a lot of physics.
Yeah, I mean, because you could literally shift the landscape, like just dragging your finger across. Right. Or like using your controls. Is it a mobile game? Anything. There's a mobile game, and there's like a PC release.
Oh, okay, I see.
But the mobile game is like, that's the shittiest version of mobile gaming. Like, you get charged for everything you do. Yeah. Like, I'm surprised they don't charge you for turning on the game every time. Like, it's that bad.
Can you imagine it gets to that point?
Yeah, I actually can. Yeah. I totally can.
That's why you should just play D&D, kids. It's free. You just need paper and imagination.
Exactly. And they don't charge you for DLC. Well, kind of.
No, they definitely charge you for
kinda charge
DLC.
you for
What are you
DLC.
talking about? Every expansion and modules.
Homebrew could be DLC.
Yeah, that's true, but that's unlimited.
But yeah, I just think the cons outweigh the pros for early access because there's so many people out there. Like when we were doing research for this, and I was bringing you examples, we could literally list like 50% of the Steam library.
Like Star Citizen. That's probably the biggest like what if for early access right now, right?
So yeah, first off, I don't know if people know about this, but if you don't, Star Citizen was announced in 2012.
Yeah, well, I didn't even hear about it until we were researching for this topic.
Star Citizen was released in 2012, which I'm surprised because it had Mark Hamill and Gary Oldman in a trailer.
Which I love those guys.
Yeah, it's awesome. But in 2012, they announced this like huge, very like massive undertaking of a game.
Yeah.
Which is basically No Man's Sky on steroids.
It's like if you mix No Man's Sky with EVE Online with any shooter game.
Yeah, exactly. And they started a Kickstarter campaign and they opened it up to early access after that. And very quickly, they got somewhere around like $2.5 million.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
And now they're sitting at what, like 120 something?
Yeah. So over these 6 years,
126 million?
Over these 6 years, it's $186 million
186,
that they've
Jesus.
raised for this game. And it's
a
still not even released yet. People are just like the people that have the ability and have dropped enough money.
Yeah, there was one guy that dropped $10,000 on this game.
He's insane.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Unless it's just one of the guys that runs,
I mean,
that
maybe
works for the game.
maybe,
devs.
but probably not.
But
I mean, like I've seen crazy gamers do,
like
shady
this is
shit like that.
this is the prime example I use. Like I know a lot of people, default to others like DayZ or
We Happy Few.
or even We Have Few is a recent
Definitely.
one that's really bad.
Yeah.
But this is one that I look at because these people just leached money.
Yeah.
They leached money off of their consumers at like a very high rate, and they're just releasing vertical slices to a small percentage of the community in 3 different modes, where basically they just showed off the ships. One release was the ships. One release was the first person.
Well,
mode.
it was 2 versions of the ship, kind of. The one was the aerial combat and then like the dogfighting, and then
Right.
the other one was the procedurally generated
Right,
exploration of
which
space.
Again, don't remember what it's called, but
It's the PU.
the PU, but it was persistent something.
Yeah, persistent universe.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I think that was it.
We'll go with that one.
I'll put it in the subtitles, what it actually is.
But yeah, that's got to be the worst example to me because this.
I actually don't think that that's the worst example. Because here's why they have.
This game could never even come out.
I mean, I do agree that it has all the biggest question marks over top of it, and it is all speculative. But it's not the worst example. You have big names attached to this. You have Mark Hamill and Gary Oldman, right?
Yeah.
And usually when like actors of that caliber are attached to a project, especially those two in particular, because they're usually part of projects that generally do well. And I in the film industry, I haven't heard of them working on like something and it just never happens. That usually doesn't happen unless they stop recording in the middle of it or something like that. So when you have big names like that attached to it, it kind of gives me faith that it's going to happen.
Well, they also could have already gotten their paycheck and they were asked to do one thing and they're done.
I mean that's true, but it just looks like they have a lot of content and their marketing campaign is really solid. This game, and here's how I look at it. This game is either going to be the greatest early access game ever and one of the greatest games ever of all time, or it's never going to happen. I don't think there's really an in-between.
It's like a Duke Nukem Forever type deal.
Yeah.
Like if Duke Nukem was an early access.
And I mean, like James Cameron, he worked on Avatar for 10 years.
Jesus.
And then everybody thought that movie was never going to come out, but then it did. And this one has been in early access for 6.
Yeah, that's still a ridiculous
So I would
amount
say,
of time.
if I was an investor, I'd give them maybe 2 more years at the most before I started complaining and want my money back. Especially if I didn't get to do any early access.
Well, I think
the worst example of early access games are actually games that aren't popular, and those are games that are literally rip-off scam games. Like there was one, it was a middle-aged. I don't even remember the name of it because I just breezed through it. It was a middle-aged, world-building survival game, and it looked their marketing was really cool. The trailer looked really cool, but literally like 70% of the reviews were horrible, and they didn't do updates for like 2 years after they did the initial release, and that was it. So like you have I think those are the most drastic versions because that's literally taking advantage of the system. and ruining it for all the other good developers.
Well, I mean, you still, like I said earlier, like we could have listed half of Steam's library because the that whole Greenlight, that early access, they're basically just asset flip games. So they take something that they saw a formula that worked in
and then they
Unreal Engine.
reskinned it.
Yeah, an Unreal
That's
Engine.
what Fortnite is.
Some of them don't even reskin it. Some
Yeah.
of them just use the exact same assets down to a T, and they don't even care. They just take advantage of people. Like
And they just give it like a $10 less price tag.
there was one game that was on Steam that came to PlayStation Network for some godforsaken reason. It was like Life of Tiger, and it was just horrifying. It looked like an 8-year-old got hold of like some kind of Pro Tools setup and was messing around. It just looks it plays horribly. It's glitches and clips all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's got a $40 price point.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And like this is the kind of stuff I think that like if we do not take care as consumers ourselves and we don't vote with our wallets, this is the stuff that'll get out of control.
I definitely agree. It definitely comes down to the consumer base being smart, and really paying attention and like just researching it a little before you pay for it. You know, every time I look at it, because I like browsing early access games to see if I can find a cheap game that I can play.
Sure.
Because I don't really like throwing $60 at a new game unless I know it's going to be good. Like Kingdom Hearts, I'm pre-ordering that shit.
Oh, yeah,
right?
duh.
Like certain games, I'm going all in on, but like I'm not really like that for most big releases.
Could
I don't want to get No Man's Sky. You know?
Could Kingdom Hearts be considered a form of early access for like 10 years?
No, because they were putting out full-fledged games.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And they were really good games.
Yeah.
I mean, did you
they're
ever
all good.
play
They're all good.
any of the handheld versions?
I played everything except for 358 over 2 days.
Yeah,
That's the only
that's
one.
the only one I didn't play.
Yeah,
either.
and I still got the
But like
story
Chain
out
of
it.
Memories was sweet.
Yeah, Chain of Memories is alright. It's alright.
They remade it for PlayStation 2.
They remade it like 4 times. I
Yeah,
think.
and then but anyway,
The best example of early access. I want to throw this out so we're not just being overly nice.
so it's not Minecraft.
So, I mean, okay, sure, we'll leave Minecraft.
The second
My favorite example of early access is Subnautica.
Oh yeah, Subnautica's off the chain.
I love it, and like the best part about them was the game wasn't super expensive to get into.
No, it's still not expensive to get now. It's like $35.
Yeah, it's not expensive, and for what? It's like a 20-hour experience. Like
No, it's more than that. You could spend as many hours as
if
you
you
want.
were
for
just,
the story.
Yeah, just for the story.
It's probably 24 hours.
Yeah.
Depending on how slow you play.
They were very transparent with everybody going into it. They followed up and followed through with every single goal they put out.
It's true.
Like they released the game and they're still dumping content into it.
It's true. I mean, I'm waiting for them to do multiplayer.
Yeah, everybody. I think everyone is.
Because that's going to be like kind of nothing compares. No survival game I think is going to top that experience unless this new game Breath Edge really kicks. I'm serious, man. I really have high hopes for this game, and not because like it looks good or it's funny or whatever, but just like the concept. Like space is more endless than the ocean.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And they haven't even you're not even going onto a planet. So like imagine adding that element to it. Then you're looking at
you're just floating in space.
yeah, and like a solo
That's pretty
adventure.
intense.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. I like Subnautica a lot. I really
Yeah.
like Rust. I think Rust is a
Yeah,
really.
you've said that 1,000 times. At least.
I'm a really big fan. I don't really play it because I don't have a group of people, and it's a Savage game. So like, unless you have a group of people to kind of like run around and build things with, it's not the funnest experience. And I think that's the biggest turnoff for the game.
Is that the one I saw? I saw a video. This dude started off like, I guess he started off with a rock or whatever.
Yeah.
And
That's
like,
Rust.
Yeah, but he went up to like a group of players. I guess it was like a popular video, and he just went up. He had a whole bunch of weapons on him, but he went up with the rock, naked, and tricked them to come out of their base and just tore them apart.
Yeah,
and
that
just
happens a
took
lot.
Everything.
That happens a lot, and that's one of the reasons why the community is so shoot first, ask questions later.
That was so funny.
Because because it is all about like how charismatic you are with the other people in the game. But I think that game is super successful. You know, it was really cheap to get. You know, I bought it for $15. It got released this year after I think 5-6 years of early access, 4, 5, 6 years of early access. Wow. But and when it started, it was rough to play. It was buggy.
I can only imagine.
You know what I mean? But when I got my version of the game, it was not that buggy. It was still a little buggy, but not like that. Like that of the early days. But it's got a really great like Ingram system, I guess is what I'll call it. That's something that they worked on for years, and I think that's what push them to wait so long for releasing it because they wanted to make it fair.
You definitely want to make it fair by
and Face Punch Studios is awesome with content creators.
That's the craziest name ever.
The developers are really in touch with the community, and like I said, content creators in particular, like they're in really deep with like Vertigo and Sir Winter. And all these guys that are really big in the Risk community on YouTube and Twitch and stuff, and they're the ones that they show all the new early access stuff to, so that they can stream it on their channels.
Yeah, of course.
So they're really about making a game for the people and not just filling their wallets. So like for those type of developers, I think that's what early access needs to be for.
Yeah, and I think
because not everybody's gonna have EA behind them shitting money down their throat to make some game.
You don't want EA behind you.
No, but you know what I mean. No one's got fuck you money like that.
Oh, exactly. But at the end of the day, like I said before, like as terrible as these people are to us, and like time and time again, they prove to us that maybe they can't be trusted.
Yeah,
it's on us to be responsible consumers.
It's true.
This is why, like, since Destiny, I haven't pre-ordered a game.
Yeah,
I haven't jumped into early access except for Subnautica. Mm-hmm. Like that was the one. I didn't
pre-order Subnautica. I bought it after. The only game that I have pre-ordered since Destiny, it's funny you say that, was Rust and Conan Exiles. But I did it Conan Exiles the day before it came out because I had been watching its progression with the reviews and glitches and stuff, and like the last week, 2 weeks after their last patch before release, everything was like really solid. So I bought it the day before to get the early access stuff.
That's smart.
And it was cheap. It was like $10 cheaper. It was like $25-$30.
That's not bad.
But I got all the really cool in-game stuff and the t-shirts and all that stuff. So like, but yeah, I'm the same way now. I don't really pre-order anything. I'm going to pre-order Kingdom Hearts whenever I get the chance, though. That's
different. That's going to be Game of the Year. So I mean, of course.
You think it's going to be Game of the Year?
I mean, it's coming out next year.
What about Spider-Man? Maybe.
No.
You haven't touched Spider-Man yet. How do you know?
Because God of War.
Oh, that's true. God of War.
God of War came out.
I can't believe that came out this year. This seems so long ago.
So yeah, this boils down to early access for me sucks. I think it's a terrible idea. And I think it's a way for game developers to kind of put their hands in your pockets before you even know what's going on.
And while I see your points as valid, I think that early access is ultimately good for the gaming community, for game developers, and to get wonderful games in your pocket for a cheaper price if you're willing to wait.
Yeah, sure. Wait for 6 years. Let me know when Star Citizen comes out.
I haven't invested any money into Star Citizen, so I'm not worried about that.
But the point is, be fucking responsible.
Yeah, always make sure you do your research before you buy any game, because there are plenty of scams out there, even on Steam, and it's kind of hard for the Steam guys to catch it.
It's a lot on Steam.
It's hard for the Steam admins to really catch that stuff unless you're reporting it. So
yeah, don't be Fry from Futurama. Don't just throw money at people.
Exactly.
Do your research. Like, be diligent. Watch YouTube videos. There's people out there that are the gatekeepers for video games.
Yeah.
And like us, a lot of people are out there like us that look out for other gamers, because it's at the end of the day, we're one community.
Yeah, we're all the same person.
Yeah. Well, just take. All right.
You know what I mean.
Okay, dial it back a little.
We are the Horde. We're gonna take a break and get a word from our sponsors over at roll4dice.com.
Yeah.
And we're gonna hit you back with Theater of the Mind.
We're definitely hitting you back.
Can it make a comeback?
Roll4dice.com is a monthly subscription where you can pick up tons of dice, miniatures, even some Legos, and the great little trinkets that they supply you monthly. Look at that sexiness. These guys came up with a brilliant idea to get people on a monthly subscription. So instead of going around perusing at stores, having to interact with human beings, you can just pick them up on their Patreon. And it's lovely. You can get 4 sets, you can get minis. They just supply you with everything you need.
I get kind of sick of going online to Etsy and trying to find specific users and everything, but they have it all right there on their website. And it's great to have that.
So don't forget to check out roll4dice.com and their accompanying Patreon. All the links will be down below. What's up, nerds, and welcome back to the Stix&Crits podcast. I'm Thomas King.
And I'm Nate Powers. After 3 weeks of saying it, I still can't get over how awesome it is to have a subscription to dice and minis coming to your house every
I know. I just got my new dice the other day.
Oh, yeah, you were telling me. I haven't
my-
seen them yet.
Oh, you did see them. I got my orange dice.
I was trying to be,
creamsicle dice.
mysterious, but okay, just ruined that for me.
See, he's a fucking liar.
You know what else is being ruined? Theater of the Mind.
Oh, God. It's not being ruined.
It's definitely being ruined.
Stop being dramatic.
And here's why.
No.
So, we live in a super...
Hold on. Go ahead.
Okay. We live in a very advanced technological age in American history and world history just in general. And it's very much about what you can accomplish visually in video games and movies and art. I mean, they have things like absolute black. Do you remember when I showed you that?
Yeah.
They have shit like that now.
I also seen someone try and put that in a pool, and apparently it's a very terrible idea.
Really?
Yeah, because it just fucking boils the water.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I want to see that. But anyway, so technology has advanced to a point where we as a society really thrive on visual stimulation.
Yeah.
Especially newer forms of it. And so it's really hard, at least from what I've seen and even experienced, really. It's kind of hard for the younger generations to be able to have that theater of the mind mental stimulus from their own imagination because they don't really have practice.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're a much more visual generation than we were even. We were outside pretending.
We were kind of
all
the
time.
first.
And yeah.
Because
yeah.
the internet and video games hit right
that was
when
we got
kids.
the end of the generation before us and all this stuff now. Mm-hmm. And these kids are just sitting on Facebook and Instagram and watching YouTube videos.
Yeah,
and,
Minecraft on every system.
yeah. That's awesome.
It is. I mean, and listen.
Minecraft should be everywhere.
I don't knock it, but it's definitely detrimental to imaginative art forms. I guess not writing. I guess it's really only something with stuff like this, where you're trying to because the whole point of theater of the mind is to get the same imagery that you would from say reading a book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I read the book, I can imagine it in my mind's eye what it looks like or my version of it or whatever.
And everybody's having a different experience at the table.
It's true. And obviously people come from different walks of life, but it's just every time I'm at a table now, unless I'm with my older D&D groups, it's okay, where's the map? Where are we on the map? What's our positioning? What do they look like? Can you draw? Can you have minis? I gotta have a cool mini.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm all about that shit.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But
I mean, at the same time, I feel like it hasn't gone anywhere. It's just been added onto. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know about everyone else, but I assume when everyone's at the table, they're all still picturing everything in their mind. Mm-hmm. Like when we were fighting Venom Fang, for example, I was picturing that whole battle, and that place was a shithole. And then I see the dragon over the horizon flying away, and Eros got that final kill on
with the chromatic orb.
Yeah, that chromatic orb is awesome.
It's a sweet spell in 5e for sure.
So I don't think it's gone. Obviously, there's groups that still play it.
It's neutered.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah. It's more like introducing a marital aid.
It's like, why use your legs when you can put robot legs on them?
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
I don't have an argument for that because I want robot legs.
Yeah, if there, I keep telling people, there was a 100% chance that I would not lose functionability, I would definitely get bionic arms and legs.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
Yeah, I agree. Who wouldn't?
We need to probably register everything as a deadly weapon, but that's fine.
Yeah, probably.
I'm cool with it.
Topic for another day.
Good luck catching me. Yeah. Anyway.
We're running faster than cars. That would be great.
But yeah, I mean, so I know it's coming back up with the OSR and everything. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to see.
Well, even the OSR is kind of taking this hit a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the using maps and minis and stuff like that has always kind of been a part of the game. There's just more innovative fluff product now.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot.
There's a lot of it. So how do we fix it, Tom? How do we bring theater of the mind back? How do we make it stronger at our table?
So like I said, it's always there. I think it's always apparent. Like it's always in someone's mind. So I think instead of attempting to bring it back and have only that, you add it into the game. I don't know, conversations amongst the players, like kind of picturing each other's characters and like how you feel your character looks versus how I feel your character looks. And again, I mean, yeah, we'd have to visualize it with art,
Right.
but kind of like melding these worlds together and like experiencing all this different stuff. Like I thought this NPC looked like he was really tall and like elegant looking, and apparently you think he's a shriveled up old man.
Well, that's just a shitty DM then, right? They can't give a good fucking description.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, you're still picturing it. Like I could describe someone right now, and both of us would.
Right, detail wise, they would.
Yeah, they would look very different. But I think it's just keeping it.
So you keep an open dialogue at the table.
Yeah, it's see, this is a tough subject because it feels like more of like
It's pretty abstract.
Yeah, it's like a more of a personal experience. So like. You could have talks about it,
Right?
But I don't know what the point of that would be otherwise, other than maybe bashing on each other a little bit and having fun with it.
Right. So okay, let me rephrase the question then. How do we strengthen our abilities? How do we practice our theater of the mind at the table? Do we like maybe hold back on using
minis and stuff?
Tabletop products? Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Train yourself.
I think that would definitely do it. Like last night when we played Pathfinder.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, I was just drawing the map out for you guys.
And I was like thinking about it the whole time. Like we were in that tunnel. There's 3 of us. Eros's character was like a hulking figure to me. I was like some innocent little cleric.
You're getting your jester on. It was.
I
pretty
was
great.
getting my jester on.
It was pretty. What's the word I'm looking for? Spot on. Yeah.
It was not spot on.
It was perfect, man. You sounded just like Laura Bailey.
Yeah, sure. Anyway. And then we had Phil's character, who was a goblin.
Oh, he was killing it.
Which I thought was the most hilarious shit.
Yes.
That was so funny.
The more I play with Phil, the more he becomes my favorite player at the table.
He goes like
he goes in.
Yeah, he goes really
in.
fucking.
And he's really good with voices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a good range, and so I mean, like, yeah, visualizing it, and I think pulling everything back is the best way to do it.
I think it also is important that whoever's DMing is very very good with not only accurately describing like layouts so that it's not confusing for the players, but also being able to give like vivid alliteration.
Yeah, you have to be able to basically bring the place to life.
Have you ever watched any Acquisitions Incorporated, the C Team?
I've watched I don't know. I've watched a couple episodes.
So
literally.
the C Team is on Penny Arcade, and it's Jerry Holkins' DM. He DMs for other. I don't know if they work for Penny Arcade. I don't really know all their relationships, but anyway, the way he uses his, because they never have maps. It's all theater of the mind.
Okay.
And the way he uses his alliteration is almost how do I put this? Over the fucking top. Like he's super. He tries to be like really abstract at times.
Okay.
So he uses like really weird alliterations, and he uses like $100 words. Like it's going out of style.
$100 words.
Yeah.
What is $100 word?
Like a word that you haven't heard since college when you were learning about some disease or some mental disorder. But it's really good, and it's very vivid description. And if you have like the mind for language, and you're really like love consuming that type of stuff.
Yeah.
It's really good, and I really like how I always bring this up. I like how fun they keep their games.
Yeah, you love these people.
Yeah, but Jerry Holkins, he's like kind of the only DM that I think is doing theater of the mind in a way that is like kind of progressive.
Okay.
Right, because everyone sits at the table like you're in a 20-foot by 20-foot room. There's skeleton parts all over the room, and in the center is a chest. What do you do? Like people are like that, or he'll be like as you sashay through the whatever fragments of white marshmallow. Like it's crazy. I would definitely recommend watching like the first 5 episodes too.
I just pictured a group of adventurers sashaying through a room.
Yeah, and like
they're fucking great.
And he. Yeah, so anyway, I always look to that as like good examples of how to do theater of the mind, just because of how in depth he can go with his descriptions.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the key to it, is being very descriptive. Like you have to open up a room. It's you got to give off the kind of the lights, the smell, like everything around it, what it looks like when you guys enter, what you can and cannot see, if you can see silhouettes or not, making out people. Like you have to get very descriptive with it.
Yeah, but then throwing in like little bits of like mystery. Yeah, get you thinking, get your juices flowing.
To me, it's like you know how they like have like cartoons and they would like slowly like bring them in. They bring a character into a blank page and then slowly like drop in scenes. It's like poof, 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 like all this. Yeah. That's what happens in my mind.
Oh, okay.
So it's like you walk in a room, it's like, okay, there's a table, poof, with these like cracked old cobblestone walls. Boom, they're a little moldy and grown over with foliage and stuff. Boom, boom, it starts appearing. I have a very vivid imagination.
Yeah. Well, I like to think I do too.
I think everyone likes to think they do. Who's like, no, I don't have any imagination, none whatsoever.
Bums who don't like thinking. I've heard people say they don't have imaginations.
That's weird.
Because some people aren't imaginative. They're not creative. They're very logical thinking. Yeah,
that's a weird way of thinking.
I can't never operate that way because I'm very creative brained. I don't know if it's left or right, but okay. So take away some fluff product, right? Get some practice in. Yeah. Learn new words. Practice. Be a thespian.
Get your vocabulary up, son.
Yo, for Rizzle.
So take the minis out, take the maps out. Do away with D&D Beyond.
But there's got to be something
like even more.
Yeah, I mean, like that just seems like a simple fix. But it doesn't seem like it would, I mean, you do everything you need to do.
You could start doing it slowly. So I know like a lot of games use terrain. So they have the map with like buildings or mountain sectors, whatever you want to put up.
Right, but let's slowly
strip it away.
But let's say even without slowly stripping it, you take everything away. What is the next step to get you practicing on being able to give better description, or to get the player being able to like get your mind in that set?
A good starting point, I think, personally, character creation. When you sit down for a session 0 and kind of describe out your character.
Right.
Like, this is how I want my character to look. And then you go into the intricate details of like maybe gray streaks in the hair, scars across the face with like a slight scowl. And you take that,
just add layers,
and you build upon it until you're able to visualize something like what we're looking at right now, which in the studio.
Right.
And if you can do this perfectly, like if you can talk about what you're looking at, or even put it into your mind with all these details, like the bookshelf, I could see all these little different colors and shapes with the books, the glasses, and all those board games.
So that seems like a good exercise.
Yeah.
Looking at a room or a setting and thinking of how you would describe it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think a lot of things, a lot of the times, the DM hasn't really thought about what every room looks like or what every character looks like. They either go off of a description in the module, or they just like kind of do something a little quickly, but they don't give a lot of thought to it because they have a lot of work to do anyway. Mm-hmm. So that seems like a really good exercise. I like that.
Yeah, everything is just like either dark or like well lit, or like there's barrels and chests and. Mm-hmm.
That's another cool thing is if you look up like dark vision, right?
Oh, yeah.
Dark vision you only see in grays and blacks
for 60 feet. Yeah.
Yeah, like just giving off that type of, or at least learning the rules so that you can figure out how to do that type of description, like that is good. That's a good thing to do too.
Yeah, you just see a bunch of grays and shadows.
Yeah. Yeah, you see this pool of liquid in front of you. You don't know if it's water. You don't know what it is. It's not bubbling or anything.
It's just
doesn't maybe might smell like vinegary or something.
I don't know. That. Yeah, you can do whatever you want to.
I think also a lot of people stick to visuals. They don't really go into the other senses.
Yeah, which you need to.
Yeah.
That you definitely need to. It gives the players like a sense of where they are, and like possibly hinting at like what could come.
Yeah.
Or what they're walking towards or away from. So it kind of builds like on top of just that room.
Right.
You can't just think of where you are right now. You have to think of where the players are gonna go. Definitely.
One of the things I like to do is, or at least I did when I started DMing, I would download modules or buy modules for games, and I would look at how they describe rooms, because they usually have
they have those little descriptions.
a little blurb, and then they have like an actual more factually written description of the room.
Yeah, that's true.
So it kind of shows you both, like how to build the room for the players logistically and how to build it for them visually.
So that's another good way too.
Yeah,
like you get those modules.
Do some homework.
Yeah. Which I know nobody wants to really do.
I love doing DM homework, man. That's like my favorite.
Well, DM homework is fine. Yeah. DM homework is good.
Acceptable.
Yes,
it might not
it's
even
good.
be fun. But it's definitely acceptable.
No, it's fun in some cases. Like I could, again, the whole visualization thing off of what you're reading in a module, or even for your spells. Whenever I read a spell, I visualize it.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about my character Vivek, and I was looking up the floating disc.
Oh yeah, tons of floating disc.
Yeah, and I was just thinking of like
how you could like jump on the disc.
Yeah, how we could use it, having the party on or not, and like moving along with it. And I'm just picturing this white, like very thin disc.
Yeah.
Like just poof, poof, poof.
See, I always think of like more like a Magneto. In X-Men 2 where Magneto he has like literally the disc of metal underneath him.
Oh yeah,
while he's
yeah.
breaking out of the prison.
Yes.
Like that's
Like
kind of
that,
how I imagine it.
Yeah, that's a good one. See, that's a totally different description.
Yeah. But I think theater of the mind is kind of like the whole base of D&D, right? Mm-hmm. Like there is no D&D without creating the world in your head.
No,
and doing it with your friends.
It's all very creative.
Yeah.
Like everybody that plays D&D is creative up to a certain extent. Some more than others. Mm-hmm. But it's all based in creativity. It's all based around your imagination and how willing you are to further it.
Yeah, you go places you've never gone before.
Yeah. In your mind.
In your mind's eye.
In your mind hole.
That got a little uncomfortable for me.
Sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, I was about to say, I know you're not sorry.
But yeah, I mean, it's I know it's different for a lot of old school players. Like now there's a lot of accoutrements to playing D&D, but theater of the mind is still very present. It's just not a lot of groups are going to sit there with just like the DM screen and just futz around all day with it.
Yeah, I'll do that. And I think the biggest detriment is that or not detriment, I should say. I would guess that the reason new players aren't really venturing into it the way that it's kind of traditionally done is because of what they're seeing online.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, everybody's watching Critical Role. They have these awesome epic maps that are getting custom painted.
Yeah.
And even like other games, they still have like the good quality visual product because it's a show.
Yeah. And
you want it to look good. But I think it kind of stunts you at least as a younger person who's coming up, especially when you're always on your phone anyway, since the age of 10 or however old you were when you're
younger.
Yeah. I see parents shoving an iPad in their 3-year-old's face, and that's upsetting to me.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's my little cousins. They both have iPads.
Yeah, fuck that.
It's crazy.
My kids aren't getting any electronics until they're 16.
Yeah, any?
Well, video games is different.
Okay.
I mean, like we'll do some PlayStation 1. I'll give them the good
like,
building
look
blocks.
at this new system that came out. You hand them a PlayStation.
Well, you can't just lie to them. That's pretty terrible parenting.
What? You could make their life like insane. So every year you can give them like you start at Nintendo and just give them a new console every year until they're like recent, until they're up to the newest
That's true,
console.
and then you kind of have every console.
Yeah. It's a good excuse.
It's like a collecting
it's a good
game.
But I was gonna say it's funny that you bring up Critical Role because I see it Like I get what you're saying with the expensive maps and the terrains and all these
painted
minis.
My whole argument with how mainstream D&D is, while I love it and it's good for the hobby because it gets more people involved, it does kind of muddle the line between expectation of what you're going to get and what you think you're going to get.
Well, I don't see.
And it also kind of, because it does give off this persona. If you learn how to play D&D by your friends down the street and they've been playing for years and they have the experience and they have the knowledge and they've gotten all their lumps, and that's how you learn, then that's a much more healthy way to get into the hobby than I watched Critical Role season 1 for 2 years and now I want to play and I'm going to get my friends together and we're going to wing it. You're not going to have the same you're not gonna have. I don't want to use the word correct, but I think it is the correct pool of knowledge.
Okay.
Because there is no wrong way to play the game, but at the same time, it is a social game, so there are a lot of social dynamics and aspects of it that you need to learn or have someone teach you.
Yeah, of course.
Or they're gonna come up and just not be fun, and everybody needs to learn it. But I don't know.
I think. When I think of Critical Role. Like we said, they have all that stuff, and they kind of build up your expectation. But at the same time, most of those episodes are theater of the mind. Like you're sitting there.
Yeah, there are a good amount of them where it's just them role playing. And Matt Mercer is great at alliteration.
Yeah,
his scenery description is pretty top notch.
I fucking love it.
It's really good.
I aspire to be like him one day as a DM.
Yeah, and his voice. Obviously, he's a voice actor. All voice actors. So, but that's
insane range.
That's kind of like an example of showing a group of people where you could be, but not how to get there.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's so produced, you know.
I feel like it's a one or the other kind of way because like you could start just theater of the mind and you can build up, or you can start off going after minis. Mm-hmm. Like when my original group started, I didn't have anything, so I went out and I bought like a crappy mini collection for like $50.
You know what I used to use?
What?
I used to use. Oh man, I used to use little toys. Like I would use we had all these little dinosaur figures, just any little figure I could use, and I would use dominoes as a grid map. We had
dominoes.
We had 10 sets of dominoes.
That's hilarious.
And so I would just make a map sprawling sewer systems or wherever they were. I would make it with dominoes.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, I quickly realized that it was atrocious to look at, so I stopped doing it.
Of course it was.
I was pen and paper is much better. But I was like, yeah, you got to use the minis and you got to have the map, and I quickly realized that was not.
It's not the case, man.
It was not exciting, especially when you have something that doesn't look really nice, because that kind of ruins the whole visual. It stunts your imagination.
It makes it worse.
Yeah.
It makes it worse.
But if you have, just a piece of paper, a grid paper, and you can really get in there and draw everything out, and just use it as a point of reference. But hey, where am I? Just so I can see tactically. You're here, they're there. That's kind of base form my favorite way to play.
Yeah, and that's, again, we did that last night and it was fun. Theater of the mind definitely is prevalent at games already. I think a lot of groups would do good to kind of peel everything away and just kind of try it out, and it'll bring forth their creativity. It'll kind of spark something inside them, and probably make the games a little better.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's always good to push yourself as a player and as a dungeon master. Try to find new and exciting ways to spice up your game. Yeah. Build up on that imagination that you're working on.
Told you it's a marital aid.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. No, but because the whole point of this game is to have fun, and the complete unlimitedness of the experiences that you can have. Is its whole attractive feature. So, by stripping away things, adding things, changing up play style, changing up character concept, changing up story, changing up, theme, just going into the unknown, into the danger zone.
The danger zone,
as I like to say, of your creativity. going into the danger zone of your creativity is really just going to push you as a player and give you a more invigorating experience.
Yeah.
And I
agree.
I think theater of the mind is the most important part of Dungeons and Dragons.
I agree.
Well, guys, that's our show for today. Thank you for taking a look at us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We're going to have all the links down below for our Facebook, Twitch, all that jazz.
Everything.
And
our house address.
Social security number.
All of it.
Well, his, not mine.
I won't get you very far.
I don't have one because I'm a soulless Jim.
You don't want mine.
Yeah.
It's more trouble than it's worth.
It's terrifying. We'll see you guys next week, though. Stay nerdy.
Later, guys. Natural 20 again?
Yo,
why can't you do this in game?
This is amazing. I'm 50-50 on ones and 20s.
It's ridiculous.